Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 28:10 Full preparation for war 2. Upon seeing Zhang Yi approach, the old man slowly removed his top hat, pressed it to his chest, and performed a standard gentleman's bow. Lord Chaos, we meet again. Mr. Montesquieu. Zhang Yi returned the greeting, scrutinizing the old man with his gaze. I thought you would, like you have for the past 2,000 years, hide behind the scenes and manipulate things. If the stage is about to collapse, then there's no safety behind the scenes. Montesquieu put his hat back on, his voice hoarse and weathered. Moreover, some old friends might appear there, and I need to catch up with them. An old friend? Zhang Yi's heart stirred. To be called an old friend by this 2,000-year-old monster, they must be no pushovers. Just then, the roar of an engine came from the sky. Several warships with distinct Western style flew through the air and landed on the coast. The Knights of the Round Table from Lithonia have arrived. King Arthur led the way, followed by Lancelot, Gawain, and the other 12 Knights of the Round Table. They were fully armed, their armor radiating a divine and magical glow. Immediately afterwards, a strange black shadow spread across the ground. Saladin, the Emperor of the Khotun Empire, came alone. He emerged from the shadows alone, without any entourage. Your Majesty Saladin, are you alone? King Arthur was somewhat surprised. Saladin smiled slightly, and the shadows behind him suddenly surged, transforming into countless hideous ghost faces and sharp blades. My army is at my feet. Millions of shadow fiends are ready to sacrifice themselves for me. This is the true meaning of one person forming an army. Where are the Colombians? Zhang Yi looked around but didn't see Benjamin Morgan's flamboyant figure. Bite. Zhang Yi's communicator rang, and a holographic image of Benjamin Morgan popped up. The background of the scene is a giant factory filled with intricate gears and metal pipes. I'm sorry, dear Zheng. Morgan swirled his wine glass in his hand, a hint of apology on his face. Those metal lumps from the construct race are a bit difficult to deal with. They insist on traveling in their own mechanical boats. So we'll meet up at the Sky Sea, and then directly at the near-Earth orbit assembly point. But don't worry, our cooperation agreement will still be valid once we reach the Starry Sky Corridor. After all, who would go after money? Oh, I mean victory? Whatever you want. Zhang Yi hung up the call immediately. He hadn't held out much hope for this sophisticated egoist anyway. Just don't stab me in the back when the time comes. Everyone is here. Zhang Yi turned around, facing the boundless sea, and above it, the towering super battleship, the Dreamer, blotted out the sky. This warship has undergone countless enhancements and modifications, and is now completely transformed. It not only possesses enough firepower to shatter asteroids, but its interior is also a small-scale ecological cycle system. Even if they were lost in interstellar space, they could at least sustain the survival of several thousand people for hundreds of years. Let's go. Zhang Yi let out a sound. Beams of traction descended from the warship, slowly lifting everyone up. Just before entering the warship, Zhang Yi looked back at the land beneath his feet. That was the home he had protected for many years, and it was also his only route in this chaotic world. Exion. Zhang Yi issued the final instructions via an internal channel. Activate Level 1 Combat Readiness Status. Activate the Kaleidoscope of Death system. Yes. As the command was given, a dramatic change suddenly occurred in the sky above the entire Huashu kingdom. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Countless defense satellites and prism towers that were originally hidden in the clouds, mountains, and even near-Earth orbit were simultaneously activated. A series of dazzling laser beams intertwined and refracted in the sky, forming a giant light prism shield that covered the entire territory of the Huashu kingdom. From a distance, it looks like a dazzling yet deadly kaleidoscope, constantly spinning and changing. Any unauthorized object, whether it's a missile, a fighter jet, or an alien attempting to infiltrate, will be instantly vaporized by billions of laser beams once it touches this prism network. This is the ultimate defense system that Liu Karen and Yang Xinxin have spent many years building, and it is the absolute barrier of the Huashu Kingdom. Total lockdown. No one is allowed to easily leave the country's borders, nor is any enemy allowed to step in. Zhang Yi's voice was cold and resolute, reaching the ears of high-ranking officials in various districts of Huashu Kingdom. Stay safe at home. We'll be back. Boom. The Dreamer's tail thrusters erupted with blue flames, and the giant ship tore through the atmosphere, transforming into a shooting star that surged upstream towards the deep, unknown, and dangerous Star Sea. Objective: Starry Sky Corridor. Boom. Accompanied by the low-frequency roar of the anti-gravity engine tearing through the air, the black hull of the Dreamer, stretching for thousands of meters, slowly broke free from the constraints of gravity. At that moment, looking out the panoramic porthole, it was not just the Huashu Kingdom. Countless points of light were rising from every corner of the entire planet Earth. That is the fleet of all races. It has the streamlined, holy boat of the winged people, which seems to be formed from pure light. There is a war fortress with the rugged and ferocious appearance of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, covered with the bones of giant beasts and heavy cannons. There were the Ice River Clan's crystalline warships, exuding a chilling aura and resembling floating icebergs. There are even countless small and medium-sized races that have pieced together all sorts of flying machines. Tens of thousands of spaceships pierce through the clouds, converging into a dazzling steel galaxy in the atmosphere. If this scene were shown in the old days, it would have been enough to make any science fiction director's heart stop. But at this moment, no one was in the mood to appreciate this magnificent scenery. When the Dreamer broke through the atmosphere and entered the vast and boundless vacuum world, a sense of insignificance from the depths of the soul instantly struck the hearts of everyone. Is that the Starry Sky Corridor? Professor Leonardo da Vinci stood on the bridge, gazing into the distant deep space, his voice somewhat hoarse. Without the obscuring atmosphere, the colossal object was finally revealed to everyone's view without reservation. It's too awesome. It has surpassed the limits of human cognition. Against the backdrop of a deep, dark universe, the double helix structure emitting a faint blue light resembles a slowly rotating drill that is about to devour galaxies. Its size even exceeds that of the Sun, stretching across the edge of the Kuiper Belt with an unyielding and unwavering stance, slowly approaching the core of the solar system, the location they are referring to. Each extremely slow rotation of it stirs up stardust millions of kilometers around it, creating a dazzling yet deadly gravitational vortex. Chapter 28:11 The Right Path. One in the face of such a magnificent and dangerous cosmic spectacle, the super battleships that humanity is so proud of are not even a speck of dust. Is this the enemy we're facing? King Arthur gripped the sword and the stone tightly, his knuckles turning slightly white. Even he, who is known as the King of Knights, felt a deep sense of helplessness when faced with this celestial-level oppression. Don't be scared by the appearance of. Zhang Yi stood with his hands behind his back, his gaze calmly fixed on the abyss-like blue. Although it is made of matter, it is also made of matter. As long as it is made of matter, it has weaknesses and can be deconstructed. Zhang Yi's words were calm and composed, like a shot of adrenaline, instantly dispelling everyone's fear. After all, they had already cracked the rope record and obtained the internal structure diagram of the rope. For Zhang Yi now, the object is no longer an unknown monster, but a sophisticated instrument waiting for them to dismantle. The unknown can be frightening, but once we understand its nature, we will have ways to deal with it. Drop. Just then, the shipboard communication system suddenly went off. High-frequency directional signal received. Identification code. Dragon Clan spaceship. They're here. Zhang Yi's eyes lit up. Let's move closer. The Dreamer adjusted its course and flew toward the signal source. Soon, a magnificent, imposing warship came into view. It doesn't seem like a product of technology. It's more like a work of art that has been created naturally. The entire body is constructed from some kind of unknown black crystal, with no seams on the surface, smooth as a mirror, reflecting the dazzling starry sky. Deep within the black crystal, occasional flashes of dark golden light appear, as if a dragon is breathing. This is the Dragon Clan's spaceship. The size of the Dreamer is 10 times that of the, which floats there quietly, exuding an aura of, and is this the foundation of the 5th-generation Overlord? Professor Leonardo da Vinci leaned against the porthole, his eyes filled with fascination. This material doesn't seem to be a metal, nor a polymer, but more like some kind of living crystal. This belongs to the Huashu Kingdom. Please follow in the 3rd quadrant. Slightly behind and to the side of the Zhu Long remain silent and await further instructions. A signal was sent from the Dragon spaceship and directly into Zhang Yi's ears. Receive. Zhang Yi immediately adjusted the formation. At the same time, he also noticed the situation around him. A number of spaceships have already gathered around the Dragon Clan flagship. There are the shell-shaped spaceships of the Deep Blue Kingdom, the streamlined assault ships of the Skywing Clan, and many small and medium-sized races that are dependent on the Dragon Clan. Bite. A private message was accessed. Benjamin Morgan's face with a fawning smile appeared on the screen.
Hi, dear Zhang.
My friends from the Construction Clan have also arrived about 200 kilometers to your left. Zhang Yi turned his head and saw a strangely shaped mechanical fleet, seemingly made of countless gears and cubes, slowly sailing into the dragon's camp. It seems that the constructs have also made a wise choice. Zhang Yi replied, Of course. If you follow the dragons, even if you don't get to eat meat, at least you'll be safe. Morgan shrugged. By the way, I saw something quite interesting when I passed by the moon's orbit. Oh, the Lunarian fleet. Only 2 ships, all alone, without any vassal races following them. Zhang Yi turned the probe around and, sure enough, spotted the 2 warships with very different styles in the distant starry sky. One ship was as white as a crescent moon, the other as black as a dead star. They remained on the fringes of the 6 kingdoms, neither interacting with other races nor accepting any allegiance. Like 2 proud lone wolves, they coldly watched this farcical gathering. This is not surprising either, Zhang Yi said calmly. The Lunarians are inherently different. They have no need for Earth's friends, nor do they deign to form alliances. If it weren't for the appearance of the Star Corridor, the Lunarians would almost never be willing to participate in anything related to Earth. Their only concern was sealing Samel beneath the moon. A thought suddenly popped into Zhang Yi's mind. What would happen if the moon were pushed into the Star Corridor and the Samel Star Clan were to collide with it? However, he quickly shook his head and gave up on this unrealistic idea. If Samel really breaks the seal, the consequences will definitely be more terrible than the return of the ruined starry sky. After all the fleets from Earth and the moon had assembled, the 6 massive fleet columns, like 6 sharp swords, pierced the dark void. With the support of anti-gravity engines and space-folding technology, the fleet travels at an extremely high speed. In less than half an hour, the magnificent outline of the starry sky corridor had already filled the entire field of vision. All personnel halt and advance. The joint command was issued from the 6 super races. All the warships stopped at a safe distance of about 50,000 kilometers from the star corridor. This is the critical point of the tide. No one dared to enter the starry sky corridor rashly. The atmosphere instantly became tense. Everyone held their breath, staring at the slowly rotating blue vortex. At the very front, the flagships of the 6 super races stood in a row, like 6 gods scrutinizing the abyss of the mortal realm. Buzz. Almost simultaneously, the belly hatches of the 6 flagships opened. Countless mechanical life forms flew out like a swarm of bees, fearlessly rushing towards the entrance of the starry sky corridor. This is the first wave of probing. Even with the video footage provided by Zhang Yi, these ancient super races, which have existed for countless years, still maintained absolute caution. Nobody would use their main force to open blind boxes. Zhang Yi sat in the command chair, carefully observing these mechanical troops through the holographic screen. Something strange. Zhang Yi frowned slightly. What's wrong, brother? Yang Xinxin asked. You see, although the 6 super races are strong, the mechanical life forms they send out don't seem to be very technologically advanced. Zhang Yi pointed to the screen. The mechanical bodies of the Tyrannosaurus rex are clumsy, rough, and rely entirely on piling on materials. The mechanical bodies of the Ice Clan are covered in ice crystal armor, making them slow to move. Even the Dragon Clan Moon people use relatively traditional autonomous puppets, whose level of intelligence is not even as high as that of the Sand Raiders of the Huashu Kingdom. Only the mechanical units of the Feathered people and the Constructed people are somewhat decent. This does not conform to their legal level. Zhang Yi pondered for a moment. Is it because of the Omnic crisis? Professor Leonardo da Vinci, standing to the side, adjusted his glasses, a glint of wisdom flashing in his eyes. When a technology develops to its extreme, it will inevitably face the creator paradox. If it creates mechanical life forms that are smarter and stronger than itself, then who will be its master? Chapter 28:12 The Right Path 2. It seems that these ancient civilizations have all suffered from artificial intelligence in history. Therefore, they have begun to turn inward to seek the ultimate goal of physical and mental evolution, and deliberately suppress the development of artificial intelligence. In terms of technological development, the Dragon Clan mainly focuses on improving people's livelihoods and assisting in repairing chains. They are indeed not very interested in this kind of purely military weapon. Zhang Yi nodded. This was indeed a reasonable explanation. Just as everyone was discussing, the surveillance footage from the front line was transmitted back. All the screens were filled with that dizzying blue vortex. The mechanized troops stormed into the entrance of the corridor. At first, it was a vast, empty blue passage. As we went deeper, giant, semi-transparent spheres began to appear in our field of vision. Those spheres floated in the void, each with a diameter of several kilometers. They emit a hazy glow, their interiors indistinct, as if enveloping individual independent worlds. That was the prototype of the world. Professor Leonardo da Vinci, with his dead fish eyes, leaned over the porthole, staring intently at the projected image. Zhang Yi said in a low voice, "This is evidence that the Star Clan is trying to open up space and create a world again in the universe." Due to the isolation caused by the spatial barriers, the mechanical unit sensors were unable to penetrate those spheres and observe the specific scenes inside. When Zhang Yi first piloted the demon god armor into the inner world, he didn't dare to really get close and explore. He could only roughly guess that it was the prototype of a world inside. The Star Clan may be imitating the creator, or at the very least, the Ihen clan and the Druk clan conducting experiments on creation and the creation of new humans. Those dispatched mechanical life forms can continue to penetrate deeper. As the distance increases, the surrounding scenery begins to change. The blue light gradually faded, revealing a desolate, white wasteland. There is no matter, no extra reference points, only pieces of empty space. The feeling was a lot like a virtual room in a game. Or perhaps it was a giant virtual laboratory. Sizzle, sizzle. The image on the screen began to shake violently, which was due to strong signal interference. Immediately afterwards, beep. All mechanical life forms that entered the depths of the white wasteland lost their signals instantly. There were no images of attacks, no explosions. It just vanished abruptly. What happened? King Arthur's eyes sharpened. The point I care about is not that the signal is interrupted, but rather this strange harmony. Strange, it's really strange. I remember in the Chaos video, when we entered this place, we were attacked by a huge number of free-floating life forms. But these mechanical troops went in and didn't encounter anything. Are those monsters hibernating? Or are they interested in living things? King Arthur looked at Zhang Yi as he spoke, and Zhang Yi shrugged. Who knows? I only have a vague understanding of the situation here. She chuckled inwardly, thinking to herself that this little girl was quite clever, having guessed some things. But Zhang Yi has no intention of revealing the truth now. Just then, the sacred and majestic voice of Gabamir came through the public channel. No high-intensity energy response was detected outside the star corridor, nor was any substantial resistance encountered. It seems that the outer defense system has failed. The real challenge lies deeper inside. His words conveyed a sense of unquestionable decisiveness. Order. All columns, maintain formation, advance. Although they spoke lightly, the actions of the feathered people were quite honest. The winged race fleet did not rush in immediately. Instead, it assigned several medium-sized warships that were attached to the winged race to sail at the forefront with shields. This is blatantly using people as cannon fodder to pave the way. Although those races whose names were called were pale-faced, they dared not have any objections under the pressure of the feathered people and could only grit their teeth and rush forward. Several super races, such as the Tyrannosaurus and the Celestials, are also following suit. Only the dragons remained completely silent. Bai Longjiwanmo stood at the bow of the flagship, his white robes fluttering, his expression serene. "We need cannon fodder," said to the vassal race behind him. "Stay close to the ancestral dragon. We will pave the way." These words instantly reassured the previously anxious members of the Skywing clan and the Spirit clan. This is the benefit of following the right mentor. Seeing this scene from behind, Zhang Yi couldn't help but marvel at the Dragon clan's confidence. Set off. With the roar of engines, the 6 massive fleets finally crossed the critical line and entered the giant blue throat of the star corridor. After traversing a long passage filled with flowing blue light, the fleet finally arrived at the area filled with spherical spaces. The spatial rules here are extremely chaotic, and the direction of gravity is constantly changing. The giant warships appear particularly cumbersome here, while individual strongmen are much more agile. All personnel disembark. Exploration will commence in squads. Streaks of light flew out from the warship, and powerful figures from all races appeared one after another. On the dragon side, the white dragon Yuanma, the black dragon Yuanjing, and the rising star Changluan were the first to fly out. They did not transform into dragons. They remained in human form, but the dragon aura emanating from them caused the surrounding space to distort slightly. Zhang Yi, along with Yang Xinxin, Li Changgong, Zhu Yu, and others, followed closely behind. The spatial structure here is very stable. As soon as Zhang Yi stepped into the void, he keenly sensed something amiss. The space here is like a shattered mirror, with visible fault lines and turbulent currents everywhere. Just then, the white dragon in front of them suddenly stopped in front of a giant spherical space. The sphere was over 5 kilometers in diameter, and its surface was shrouded in a layer of hazy mist, making it impossible to see its interior. Bai Long turned around, his gaze sweeping over everyone and landing precisely on Zhang Yi and the Spirit Clan member Luo Qiao. "Chaos, Luo Qiao." Bai Long spoke, his voice gentle, yet carrying a hint of testing. "Chaos, you have made great achievements in the field of space and possess the ability to predict time. Luo Qiao, you are a genius among the Spirit Clan, and your spiritual perception is unparalleled among your peers. You too come here and investigate for the family. What exactly is inside the sphere?" Upon hearing this, everyone's attention immediately focused on the two of them. This is not just a task, but also a recognition and a test. "Yes, Senior." Zhang Yi and Luo Qiao exchanged a glance, did not refuse, and flew side by side to the giant spherical space. Chapter 28:13 A Ruined World 1. Upon closer inspection, the sphere exudes an even stronger sense of oppression. It resembles a sealed asteroid, exuding an ancient and decaying aura. Ah! Just then, a mournful, shrill cry suddenly came from afar. Everyone turned to look and saw that in the area controlled by the Tyrannosaurus Rex, several powerful alien beings who had tried to force their way into another spherical space had just touched the mist on the surface of the sphere when their bodies instantly began to wither and weather away. In just a few seconds, they were turned into several dried-up corpses and then sucked into the sphere, leaving not a trace behind. Hiss! A collective gasp rippled through the surrounding crowd. Clearly, these spherical spaces are not benevolent places. but rather traps hiding enormous dangers. Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed slightly, but he did not back down. He turned to look at Luo Qiao beside him. The handsome Spirit Clan member maintained his elegant demeanor and even smiled at Zhang Yi. "Your Excellency Chaos, I'll go first." After saying that, Luo Qiao slowly closed her pure black eyes. Spiritual technique, swimming fish entered dreams. A soft, moon-like spiritual radiance emanated from him. The large, spiritual fish that had been surrounding him suddenly seemed to come alive. Two of the large fish swung their tails, their bodies gradually becoming ethereal, ignoring the deadly gray mist, and directly disappeared into the spherical space. This is an extremely sophisticated method of mental projection. The physical body remains still while the spirit body is used to investigate. Even if the spirit body is destroyed, the physical body will only suffer minor injuries. "I'm coming." Zhang Yi was not to be outdone. Silver divine patterns suddenly lit up in his eyes, then transformed into an ancient pendulum, its hands gently swinging. The second hand of time, foresee the future. At the same time, the spatial power within his body surged, constructing layers of folded spatial barriers in front of him as a safety measure. Zhang Yi did not actually go inside. He was using the rules of time to extrapolate the possibility of "if I went in." Buzz. Zhang Yi's consciousness was instantly pulled into a strange scene. In the video, he passes through the layer of gray fog. No attack occurred, and no traps were found. What came into view was a lifeless and dreary world. The sky was leaden gray, without the sun, only perpetual darkness. The earth is cracked, and the rivers have dried up. He saw some twisted plants, like cacti mutated by radiation, with an eerie purplish-black color. He also saw some animals. It was either a six-legged lizard or a strange bird with only one eye. They wandered aimlessly across the wasteland, their eyes vacant and their movements stiff, like a group of soulless zombies. This is an ecosystem, but this is a fragmented, deformed ecosystem where time seems to have stopped flowing. There is no sign of any intelligent life, no trace of any civilization, only endless desolation and despair. A moment later, Zhang Yi suddenly opened his eyes, and the silver light in them slowly dissipated. At the same time, Luo Qiao's two spirit fish swam back and reintegrated into his body. Luo Qiao's expression changed slightly, clearly surprised by the scene inside the spherical space. The two exchanged a glance, both seeing the seriousness in each other's eyes. "How is it?" Bai Longzi Yuanma asked calmly. "It is a dilapidated world." Luo Qiao spoke first, her voice soft. "There is a complete ecosystem inside, with mountains and rivers and plants and animals. However, the spiritual energy there is dead and cannot circulate. Moreover, I did not sense any fluctuations of a soul with higher intelligence." Zhang Yi nodded and added, "That's right. The flow of time there seems to be different from the outside world, extremely slow. It gives me the feeling like a half-finished product that has been abandoned by creation and has not fully evolved. Or rather, it's a failed petri dish." Upon hearing the reports from the two, everyone around them looked completely bewildered. Why go through all this trouble to build so many spheres in the starry sky corridor? Is it just to raise a bunch of lizards and strange birds? Are these Star Clan members crazy? However, after listening to this, Bai Longzi Yuanma showed an expression of "I expected it" on his face. He gazed at the enormous sphere with a profound look, as if he were looking through time and space at the race that once dared to challenge the gods. "That's normal." Bai Longzi spoke calmly, his voice carrying a hint of awe for the heavenly Tao. For races with advanced technology, it is not difficult to create such a small world using space-folding technology. Even if it's our dragon race or the current winged people, they are only willing to expend resources and can only do so much. But Bai Longzi extended a finger and pointed it at his own head. Creating an environment is easy, but creating a soul is as difficult as climbing to heaven. The ultimate goal of the Star Clan is to evolve new intelligent beings, free from the constraints of the rules of creation, within this independent little world. They want to be the creator. But clearly, Bai Longzi glanced at the lifeless sphere and sneered. They have lost. Without the spirituality bestowed upon them by the Creator, what they create will ultimately be nothing more than a group of walking corpses. Let's go. We're not looking for anything here. The real core is clearly deeper inside. Upon hearing this, everyone naturally followed obediently behind their eldest brother, moving forward step by step. Ah! Suddenly, a piercingly mournful scream abruptly shattered the deathly silence surrounding the starry sky corridor. The sound did not travel through the air, but was a powerful mental fluctuation that erupted before death, directly striking the minds of every superhuman present. That was the pain of having one's soul torn apart, filled with endless fear and despair. Everyone's attention was instantly drawn to the left, an area that the Giant Tooth clan had been exploring. The small, gray spherical world, which had been floating in the void and was hundreds of kilometers in diameter, suddenly seemed to have been forcibly torn apart by some internal force. A massive crack pierced through the surface of the sphere, and at the edge of the crack, the bodies of several scouting warriors of the Giant Tooth clan had been reduced to clumps of indistinct flesh. What is that? Fatty Sue stared wide-eyed. Dressed in demonic armor, he hid behind Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu, watching in horror as the creature slowly crawled out of the crack. It was a pitch-black monster that was over 10 meters tall. After throwing out the body, it quickly crawled out of the world sphere. A dark, ugly, and even terrifying aura emanated from it. Chapter 28:14 A Ruined World 2. A monster appeared from the spherical space. Moreover, it is extremely powerful, enough to kill the monsters of the explorers. It has human-like limbs, but its entire body is covered with a hard and smooth carapace like obsidian, reflecting a cold, eerie light under the starlight. Several sharp bone spikes extend from its back, and a long, barbed tail trails behind it, easily slicing through the surrounding space with each swing. What makes it most comfortable is its head. The head was enormous, extending backward into a streamlined cylinder, as if it contained an incredibly large brain. It has no eyes, no nose, only a huge mouth that takes up 2/3 of its face and is covered with sharp teeth and mucus. It's like an ultimate biological weapon evolved for killing and thinking, exuding a nauseatingly savage aura. The Star Clan. Is this the legendary Star Clan? Someone in the crowd gasped in surprise, their voice trembling. Idiot, shut up. On the winged people's side, a wise man dressed in silver armor sneered, his eyes filled with disdain. The Star Clan are direct descendants of the Fourth Ark civilization. Their appearance is similar to our feathered people, possessing holy wings and perfect faces. How could such ugly and filthy monsters possibly be the noble Star Clan? If I'm not mistaken, the wise man narrowed his eyes, his tone grave. This should be a bioweapon created by the Star Clan's Transcendent Project, or some kind of failed experimental subject. Before the words were finished, the pitch-black monster moved. It seemed to be in a state of extreme hunger due to the long period of sealing. Its huge mouth suddenly opened, and an inner tooth with a mouth part shot out instantly, as fast as teleportation. Puffed! A Skywing warrior who had just reacted was in no time to even scream as his head was pierced through by the inner tooth, his brains and blood instantly sucked out. You bastard! How dare you commit violence in front of us? A thunderous shout rang out. From within the Tyrannosaurus Rex camp, a crimson figure shot out like a cannonball. One of the fierce generals of the Tyrannosaurus Rex clan was named Red Fong. He possessed terrifying strength approaching that of a knight, his entire body engulfed in tangible flames, and the giant axe in his hand, imbued with the power to cleave rocks, slashed fiercely at the pitch-black monster. Roar! The pitch-black monster let out a sharp screech. It actually dodged and raised its carapace-covered claws to forcefully block Chi Fong's giant axe. When? The sound of metal clashing was deafening, and sparks flew everywhere. A shocking scene unfolded. Only a single white mark remained on the monster's carapace. Chia's giant axe, powerful enough to split an aircraft carrier, was shaken so violently that it made a buzzing sound, and his tiger's mouth cracked open. What a hard shell! A fierce glint flashed in Chia's eyes. "I'm sure I'll kill you." The human and the monster instantly clashed, and terrifying energy instantly spread throughout the vast white space. People around them hurriedly retreated to a distance of over 100 miles to avoid being affected by the shockwave. This was a primitive and bloody battle. The monster was extremely fast, and its tail was like the Grim Reaper's scythe, with incredibly tricky angles. Meanwhile, the Tyrannosaurus Rex's red fang opened and closed, relying on its powerful physique and fire abilities to withstand the attacks. The battle lasted a full 10 minutes. In the end, despite having his leg pierced by the monster's tail, Red Fang unleashed the power of the dragon blood within him and chopped off the monster's head with a single axe blow. Huff, huff. Red Fang, carrying that hideous head and covered in blood, stood in the void, panting heavily. A cheer erupted from the crowd. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is mighty. These mere experimental subjects are nothing to fear. However, amidst the deafening cheers, Zhang Yi's expression turned serious. He didn't look at the monster's corpse, but stared intently at the seemingly quiet white void around him. In his vision of this second hand of time, the future scene was violently distorted, and a sense of crisis that made his scalp tingle was frantically warned. "That's right, the energy fluctuations are too strong." Zhang Yi murmured softly, his fingers unconsciously tightening their grip on the hilt of the demon blade. Although there were only 2 people in that battle, the level of energy they unleashed was extremely high. In particular, the final attack by Akagami, which unleashed dragon blood, was like a boulder being thrown into a still lake. In this starry corridor filled with rules and restrictions, this intense energy fluctuation is like a lighthouse in the dark night. "Almost, we should come too." Zhang Yi's voice was deep and resolute, as if he had foreseen the occurrence of a certain situation. Almost the instant he finished speaking, a sudden change has occurred. In the originally empty, boundless void with only a white background, the light suddenly began to distort in a strange way. It's like something floating up from beneath the still water. One after another, nearly transparent, gelatinous, free-floating spiritual beings appeared out of thin air. They have no fixed shape. Some look like jellyfish, some like clouds, and some like a tangled mess of gibberish. But they all have one thing in common, a cold and dangerous dark blue core shimmering within them. Their sheer numbers were overwhelming, covering the entire area, and they instantly surrounded the 6th Column's fleet. What is this? Where did they come from? The allied forces of all races, who were just basking in the joy of victory, were instantly thrown into disarray. On the flagship of the feathered race, Envoy Chief Bamir's expression changed drastically, and he slammed his holy staff into the ground, issuing a warning. "Everyone on high alert. This is the kind of monster from the footage provided by Chaos. They can devour energy, so don't let them get close easily." However, the warning came a step too late. The moment those free-floating creatures appeared, they launched an attack on the nearest small groups. They didn't bite or tear, but instead pierced directly through the spaceship's shields that could withstand physical and energy attacks, but they were as useless as a door. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. As these creatures passed through the ship's hull, the spaceship's engines instantly shut down, and all its energy systems were drained. Immediately afterwards, they pounced on the crew members. There was no blood splattering, only a silent fall. The alien whose body had been pierced had its soul directly absorbed by the dark blue core, leaving only an empty shell. Counterattack! Counterattack now! The commanders of each column roared out orders. The fleets of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, Glacier Clan, and Henkin immediately opened fire. The energy beams and elemental magic poured out like a torrential rain. Zhang Yi, however, calmly opened the myriad phenomena of the universe, transforming it into a gigantic barrier that blocked out the others. The myriad phenomena have no energy fluctuations. They are merely the barriers of space, completely isolating the inner and outer areas.
Alright, that's it for the today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.